Howdy folks, Monty here, and in this video we're going to be going over tanking strategies for Maw of Souls. Maw of Souls is one of the shorter 5-mans in this expansion with only 3 bosses. There are a few bits of trash that are going to be notable. The Helia champion is going to cast a fear that's going to need to be interrupted. The Helia Mistmender is going to be casting heals that need to be uninterrupted. And then the Helia Mist Caller is going to be casting a whirlpool ability that is going to need to be interrupted. Aside from that, not too much on the trash. The first boss, Imran the Fallen King, is going to have a few abilities you're going to need to watch out for. Winds of Northrend does moderate frost damage and a knockback. Not really anything big, but maybe a good opportunity for Death Knights, for instance, to use Anti-Magic Shell. Dark Slash is going to be an ability that does heavy damage. Prior to him hitting you with Dark Slash, you are going to want to use your active mitigation to make this damage a little bit more manageable. Screams of the Dead is going to be a purple AoE the boss puts on the ground. At the end of the AoE, anybody standing in it is going to be feared, which is obviously never good for tanks. So as soon as you see that AoE being cast, start running out, and you should be fine. It's a pretty long cast. Finally, he gets an ability called Bane, which surrounds him with swirling shadow magic damage and summons a number of skeletons. Death Knights and Vengeance Demon Hunters will want to grasp these to their location. Other classes are going to want to have healers and DPS who get skeletons on them just run to you and you can pick them up from there. Outside of that, the boss is fairly straightforward and fairly easy. Next up is Harboron. Harboron is going to be casting Fragment on a random player to summon shadowy copies of that player that are going to need to be DPS down. He's also going to be summoning Shackled Servitors who are going to need to be killed by DPS as well. He's going to have an ability called Cosmic Scythe. It's going to point in a direction and then send shadowy scythes out in that direction. Anybody standing in that line is going to be taking damage, so be aware of where that is at all times. Finally, he's going to be casting Nether Rip, which is going to conjure shadowy pools of damage that are going to slowly drift across the deck of the ship. Make sure you position Harboron in such a way that the DPS have plenty of room to maneuver around him and that you're not in the path of any shadow damage coming next to you. Finally, we have Helia. Helia is probably the longest boss fight in the Legion 5-mans. It's a 2-phase fight. The first phase is going to consist of you fighting several different types of tentacles on the deck. Destructor tentacles are going to pop up from the deck and going to need to be tanked. If they're not tanked, they are going to do high damage to the raid. The grasping tentacles are what you're going to want to focus on if there are no destructor tentacles up. Killing these tentacles is going to cause Helia to take damage, and at 80% she's going to transition into phase 2 of the fight. In phase 2, she breaks the bow of the ship and faces the players directly. You are going to want to tank her just like you did the Destructor Tentacles to make sure she's not dealing damage to the rest of the raid. The only 2 things you're really going to want to watch out for here are Torrent and Corrupted Bellow. Torrent is going to be a cast that you'll need to interrupt. You're not going to be able to interrupt every one, so swap off and on with one of your melee DPS if you have them available. Corrupted Bellow is going to be a large conal AoE damage that's either going to face left, right, or center. You're going to want to pay attention to which way Helia is facing when she starts to cast this and make sure you stay out of the way. This is going to one-shot most players and severely damage even a well-geared tank. The only other thing to watch during this encounter are there are several holes in the bow of the ship. If you step on them, they are going to... you're not going to fall through the ship. They're going to bounce you out and you are going to be stunned, which is going to cause high damage and make your healers' lives a little miserable. So that's all I've got for you today. If this video was helpful, hit me with a like, hit me with a sub, and give me some feedback. All those things help the channel out. Stay tuned for several more guides that are coming up on how to tank the different Legion 5-mans, and thank you so much for watching.